way of living, a different way of raising your children, a different way of seeing the world. And is Japan the exact same country? This can be done, but it has to be ideological. We have to fight this ideologically. Listen, I was in the sand. I met these guys my age. They grow up in the middle of nowhere in the sandy desert, starving to death, goat herding, eating Sam sandwiches, and then ISIS comes in as a big, strong, seductive force. No wonder these guys go off, and they sacrifice their children on this altar. And what the United States needs to understand is that we need to exchange that ideology with something different. I am so frustrated that that's not spoken of by our leaders, because otherwise we're going to expend more and more treasure, more and more lives. It's going to be devastating. And we have seen the ramifications and consequences of this. And I don't know how many times it's going to be, we're going to dance with the same girl at the same dance when it just doesn't seem to work. And that's pretty depressing. That can be pretty harsh. But I felt so passionate about telling that to you because the headlines don't mean much to you, but they do to me. I've lived with this stuff. I've seen this stuff. I've also seen how the media spins and lies and treats our troops as expendable. And I wanted to talk about that. But I also want to tell you that's Washington, D.C., but there's wonderful things happening in your life, wonderful people doing wonderful things in your life. I want to give you an example of one that really moved me. This guy's name is Joey Persick. This is a 19-year-old manager at a Dairy Queen. And what this guy is what Washington should be, a shining example of integrity, honesty, courage. This is what happened. This guy's serving, ice cream cones, and a blind patron comes in, and he's waiting in line. He drops a $20 bill, and the woman behind him picks it up, and instead of giving it to the blind patron, she puts it in her pocket. Now, Joey's the manager. He sees this happen. When the woman approaches him, he says to her, I need you to give that $20 bill back to the gentleman. It's his money, and you stole it. She looks at him and she throws some sort of fit and she gets beat red in the face and she starts dropping the F-bomb all over the place and she reams this young kid out. He stays calm. He restates it. He says, you need to give that money back to the blind man. She just continues to take it up a notch. So he throws her out. The rest of the patrons give him a round of applause. Then this is what's amazing. Joey reaches into his own wallet and gives the man $20 of his own money on behalf of Dairy Queen, saying that although it's not the money he lost, this is the right thing to do. Business went through the roof. This kid right here, this is the stuff that I love about the United States of America, and it's the stuff that you never hear. Never hear. I want to talk about this one. So a kid is battling cancer. This kid's name is Noah Wilson. He's 6 years old. He's battling this rare bone cancer. And every time he goes through one of these horrible, painful surgeries, they give him a superhero badge following a chemo treatment, which I just think is incredibly cool. Well, this kid makes this, he thinks it's such a great idea and it meant so much to him throughout his treatment. He makes this self-made sign, puts it out there, and is trying to raise funds and stuff to get donations for what he now calls Noah's Badge Project. And through Facebook, media coverage, etc., he's collected now over 3,000 badges, which he now gives to other sick kids. That's an amazing thing. That's an absolutely amazing thing. It's touching, it's moving, and that's the kind of stuff that happens all the time in your country. I like to bring us back up to breathe the fresh air, because the problem with so much political talk radio is that, yes, they give you the medicine. They give you what's down. They give you what's out. They depress you. I mean, let's be honest. What is me, you, and the average Joe six-pack going to do about all the tomfoolery and idiocy in Washington, D.C.? Well, I would argue yes, you know what's happening. You do your civil duty. You vote. You exchange ideas. I think that's a responsibility of adults. But I think you do what Joey does. I think you take it to the micro. I do. I believe you serve your fellow man. You be an example. In many ways, I hope this kind of stuff shames some of the leaders that we have that are doing the exact opposite. Deceiving people, lying, padding their own resume, padding their own power seat. That's not America. It seems like it is when you listen to the news. It seems like it is, but I claim it is. One last thing I want to tell you about. A Texas homecoming queen. She ends up giving her crown to this girl who was pranked. You guys might have to harken back to high school, but I remember that being a tough time. Only with this one girl. She's not very pretty. She's not very popular. Well, she gets told that she's on the homecoming court, which makes her day. It only turns out to be a cruel joke by some of these gaggle of mean girls, if you will. So the actual homecoming court, luckily, is made up of girls with solid gold hearts. So they make a pact between themselves that whoever wins the homecoming queen crown, I suppose it is, they're going to give it to this girl who was pranked. This girl's name was Skinner. So that's exactly what happened. They crown the homecoming queen. She immediately makes an announcement, brings the girl up on stage, and gives her the homecoming crown. Ladies and gentlemen, that is America. I contend that is America. I have moved to Mansfield from Pennsylvania, from the West Coast, or from the East Coast rather, to the Midwest, and I see people like this all the time. Andy just called me. She's doing work for Youth for Christ. These people exist. They don't necessarily exist in the headlines, but they truly do exist. They're the pillars of your community. They're the people that are taking care of the invalid. They're the people that are teaching your kids on little to nothing. They're the people who roll up their sleeves and get it done. So often it's not government. It's not government that solves these greatest problems of our time. It's people. It's you. It's me. It's our communities. I think Central Ohio is a shining example of this. I actually have fallen in love with the area in that respect, especially, by the way, coming off of this whole, there's little town fairs all over the place. Back home where I come from, we don't have that. And my favorite thing about it is that the people are so proud of it. It always has some sort of local spin, the tomato show, this, that. I love that stuff, but my favorite thing about it is if you walk around there, you really get to see what the area is like and how many of these little amazing communities holding hands and making up Central Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an iHeartRadio show. It's called The BROCK LAWLEY Show. You can listen to it on your phone. iHeartRadio is one of the biggest media footprints now. The BROCK LAWLEY Show. If you like this social commentary, you can hear more of it there. I also have a music website. I'm a musician, BROCK LAWLEY Music, and I also have a website called CourageCulture.net. Visit all those places. And again, this Tuesday night, I'm going to be playing the Waterford. 7 p.m. is when the event starts. Meet the Candidates Night. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always a privilege to meet you. I want to thank the radio legend Gary because he does all the heavy lifting for me, makes it seem easy. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back on the Brock Lawley Show.